Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen and I'm a dyslexic here to help other dyslexics and their parents. Today I am going to be sharing 3 advantages of being dyslexic. So if you are a dyslexic and want to know advantages of being a dyslexic, then this video is for you. Let's get into it. So growing up, I knew I was a dyslexic. I found out by the 2nd grade, and I was in intervention and reading programs to overcome my dyslexia by the 3rd grade in private tutoring funded by my parents. As the school district did not have anybody trained to help me learn the way I needed to. So with that, my parents paid for the private tutoring that I went to before school started. And it definitely helped me learn and it helped me get to where I am today. So I totally recommend that, but that is not what this video is about. So growing up, I knew I had dyslexia and I knew that reading and writing were hard. And then once we got to word problems and math became hard also. And it was just so frustrating. And I always knew that I had to work harder, study longer, do more things to learn the way that my friends learned and my peers learned, and they were able to pick up on all this very easily. And one of the things looking back on it that I didn't know, but I know now, is the advantages of being a dyslexic. And if you have never studied the advantages of being a dyslexic, it is something to look into. And today I'm going to be sharing 3 advantages that I love about being a dyslexic. So let's talk about those. The first one is observant. The second one is big picture thinking. And the third one is good at making connections. So let's dive into this and talk more about these. So the first one is observant. As a dyslexic, we are very observant. We're always observing other people. We're observing the environment around us. We are just observant. We're learning things about people. We're picking up on patterns. We're picking up on things that other people normally don't pick up on, and we can use that to our advantage. So in the real world, this meant being observant. I would pick up on systems and processes in the business world that nobody else would, and I would be able to use that to my advantage. So when it came to certain systems and tasks that were completed weekly, I would pick up on certain things. When we would go in and edit writings, I would never be the first one to figure it out. But afterwards, if it was like a specific comma or specific spelling that occurred over and over again, I could pick up on those things because I was so observant, and it'd be like, oh, the comma's missing right here, or the comma's missing there. I was never the first one to pick up on it, but after that, I was the consistent one to pick up on it because I was so observant. The second one is big picture thinking. So when we're thinking about things, big picture thinking, we can see the whole picture, the whole world. So yes, we miss small, minute details. Yes, we miss those, but we can see the big picture, and we can see how to move people forward and how to move a company forward easier than anybody else. And so this puts us in an advantage to help the companies grow and put us in a higher position in the companies if you're willing to step up and say things and look at the big picture and use that to your advantage. So with the big picture thinking, again, it was like, how can I take this system and make it easier for other people and be able to reuse it and redo it? And this is easily replicatable in any other position. You just have to look and see where the struggles are, listen to people. And this is something you can't do overnight, but if you're in there and working the job, you can start to see how being observant and being a big picture thinker can work together to make something easier and better. The third one is to be good at making connections. So this is something that people have talked about, and it's taken me a real while to realize that, yes, I was good at making connections. And so it takes me back to a time when I was in school, and I was studying Shakespeare. And for some odd reason, I loved studying Shakespeare because it made sense to me. It didn't make sense to anybody else, but it made sense to me. When we would take the time and it would be read, I could understand it, and I could pick up on things and connections that other people couldn't. If I read the cliff notes or the footnotes at the bottom, I would be able to be like, oh, we're talking about this, blah, blah, blah. I was always the one answering the comprehension questions in school. And looking back on it, it's because I was able to make those connections that nobody else could. And I remember watching everybody thinking and trying to understand what I was talking about, because it would just be like, oh, we're talking about this, blah, 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 blah. And they would all sit there and they'd be like, yeah, she's right. And so Shakespeare was one of those making connections, and we make connections that nobody else can. We can tie it into real world experiences. We can relate it to experiences that nobody else can. But once we make that connection, everybody else can see it, but they're not going to do it on their own. So there you have it. Those are 3 advantages of being a dyslexic. So being observant, being a big picture thinker, and good at making connections. There you have it, guys. Those are 3. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to have some disadvantages of being a dyslexic. I'm also going to be going more into the evaluation process, the IEP process, and just more information about dyslexia. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I know that this is information that you're going to want. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye, friends.